SITC recognized recently that a crisis in clinical research has really been building for a long period of time. And this all came about when we started some conversations with the NCI about strategies for enhancing the implementation of correlative endpoints in clinical trials. And during the course of those conversations, the focus really shifted towards a staffing crisis, with the pressures of COVID and the so-called Great Resignation. Many industries have experienced a shift in the workforce where employees have gone on to other opportunities or overtly resigned to pursue additional education, which has really resulted in short staffing in many different industries, including the airline industry, the restaurant industry, and also in clinical research. So the problem of limited staff really has been a tipping point for a crisis that's been building for quite some time. And the different, in addition to limited staff, the factors involved in that crisis include increasing complexity of regulatory requirements and the burden of meeting those requirements, as well as inefficiencies that have been built into the conduct of clinical trials themselves. Superimposed on the regulatory barriers and the clinical trial inefficiencies came COVID. So COVID did precipitate this to some degree, but it didn't cause it. It really kind of created a tipping point. Taking a look at the impact of COVID on staffing, which is really what the influence of COVID was, there was a survey conducted of cancer centers, and 42 out of 44 of the cancer centers surveyed suggested that staffing shortages really were limiting their ability to open new trials and also to enter data in a timely fashion and get the trials done. And if you look at clinical trial accruals, we are currently still at about 20% below pre-pandemic levels. So it's really a major crisis because of the unprecedented opportunity that we have before us with advances in technology and our knowledge of biological pathways that are clinically important and targeted for cancer therapy to really create new drugs to enhance outcomes for cancer patients everywhere. And this is particularly true for immunotherapy, which is relatively newer amongst the cancer therapies and really has great potential for long-term clinical benefit and even cure.